Welcome to the Lady Up America podcast. I'm Diane Canada. I'm your host, and I am so glad you're here today. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies, this is an important conversation today. I want you to turn off all distractions, really lean in, because even if you do not currently have children that are school age, you know somebody who does, and you're going to want to hear what my guest today has to say. We're going to be talking all about homeschooling today with my guest, Kim Kirkpatrick. So be right back.
Around this town, lady up around this town. Victory on the battleground, we claim it now. Lady up, lady up. Lady up, lady up.
All right, ladies, I know that this has been fresh on our minds, the indoctrination that's happening in our schools today. This is not the education that we got growing up. We've all been awakened to this, but I think a lot of moms out there feel paralyzed because maybe they cannot quit their jobs and stay home and homeschool their kids. I know a lot of you want to, or maybe you're a grandmother and you don't have children, but you're seeing other friends that are struggling with this right now. Well, today we have got answers for you that I think you're going to be really surprised to hear. It's not as daunting as you think. You don't have to quit your job. There's all kinds of alternatives. So if you are interested in taking your children out of the indoctrination camps and getting them real education from a biblical worldview, then you are going to want to lean in today. So please welcome my guest today, Kim Kirkpatrick. She is a teacher with New Life Academy here in Nashville, Tennessee. She's been homeschooling for 17 years. She's deeply entrenched in this community, and she's going to give you some insights today that I think you're really going to enjoy hearing. So please welcome to the show, Kim Kirkpatrick. Hi, Kim.
Good morning. Hi, how are you?
Good morning. I am so good. I am so grateful to you for being here today. I know this conversation is top of mind for so many moms right now and grandmothers. So thank you for joining me today and being willing to educate us. I'm excited to learn at your feet today. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
You have tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up coming into the homeschool world.
Well, I'm a Nashville native, born and raised here. I've been married to an amazing man for 28 years. We have two adult children, two adult boys. I homeschooled both of them. It was interesting how I got into homeschooling. We lived in Davidson County, and we decided we need a better school system for our kids. So we moved to Wilson County. We bought a house, and it was an older house, and we worked on it for a good year or so. And we moved in the weekend that school started. So we put our oldest son in kindergarten here, and I thought things were going great. I just felt things were great.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very active boy. I had the other one was 4 years younger, and he was the oldest one was so active. He kept me so busy, and I found myself a little excited that Monday was coming because I could send him off to school. And I thought, you know what? This is terrible. God gave me a wonderful child. He has nothing wrong with him. He's just a very active boy. And I was 32 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, I'm sorry. I was 32 when he was born. So by the time he started school, I had some years on me. I was reaching 40. So
Getting tired. We get tired as we get older.
I was tired. And, I was constantly trying to keep him he was climbing everything. If he could jump off the roof onto the trampoline, yes, he would be doing that.
Oh my goodness. So he's an adventurous one.
Yes, very, very adventurous. So I found myself, looking forward to Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I all of a sudden just got this huge amount of guilt that I was looking forward to Monday. So I just prayed, and I was like, Lord, what is wrong with me? I've got a perfect child. I have two perfect children. And here I am wanting him to not be in my presence. What is wrong with me as a mom? Please.
A lot of moms feel that, but I understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
The guilt was just consuming me because I thought, shame on me. That's a terrible thing to think about. So I've never been a huge reader. I just like to read things that might pertain to whatever I might be interested in at that moment. So the Lord just started filling my head with thoughts of homeschooling. I was like, wait a minute, I can't. No, that's not what my prayer. When I prayed, I did not say anything about homeschooling a child.
Yeah.
So the feelings were stronger and stronger and stronger, and I was a college dropout.
Mhm.
So I was like, Lord, are you sure you have the right Kim? I mean, the right mom. This can't be so because I can't do this. I just can't.
Mhm.
The feelings got stronger and stronger, and finally I sat Hugh down one day and I said, hey, I've got to talk to you about something pretty serious. And I said, I feel like the Lord's leading me to homeschooling. And he's like, that's great. I'm so excited. And I thought it would be opposite. I was worried that it would be opposite. He's always been very supportive in anything I do. So I guess maybe because I didn't finish college that I was worried he might say, are you sure? But it wasn't
Mhm.
that. So I kept going and kept going. And our son was still in kindergarten. We came home from school one day and he said, Mom, I think I want you to homeschool me. Just out of the blue. I'd never said anything to him about it.
Oh, wow.
I just think I want to be home more. I was like, well, okay. So I started getting, a little more confident in things. And I thought, maybe this is another sign from the Lord that
Mhm.
this is what he wants me to do.
Yeah.
So pulled him out and we started, and it was the best thing I've ever done. It
Oh,
was absolutely, I would do it all over again,
wow.
all over.
Wow. I love I love how the Lord works on us when he is calling us to do something. It's a gentle nudge, and then it just gets a little louder and a little louder. I've found that to be true in my life too. And then you get those confirmations, you get those kind of, I call them the signs along the road that are saying, "Yes, go this way," pointing you this way.
Mhm.
That had to be so much of a departure because you're thinking you need a little space, and now God's saying, "No, go all in."
Yes.
So, yeah, I
And
love that.
it was from the Lord because my mindset was completely changed
Yeah,
from no, I'm not doing that to, oh, I can't wait. So
yeah.
it was completely changed. So it was great.
I love that. When we surrender to him, when we really want his will for our lives and not ours, I love how he changes our desire. And that's what he
Hmm.
says, delight yourself in the Lord, all these things will be added. Or, when we literally just say, whatever you want, God, then it's like we
Yes.
just find that freedom in things that are so surprising, things we never thought we would we would enjoy doing. I definitely felt that when I ran for office. I was like, Lord, you've got the wrong girl. Like, I've never been around all the excuses of why this is not a good idea. Like, we're telling God, right? what?
Yes.
Um, so let's talk then about how you got into it. So and this has been 17 years ago. And you've evolved obviously since then. And we're going to talk about maybe other women right now who are listening, who are kind of, their ears are perking up a little and going, "Oh, I've been kind of been hearing that calling too." What's your journey been like from the beginning? Kind of first getting your feet wet with that, and then let's talk about how that evolved.
Well, again, I felt so unequipped, and the Lord kept saying, "I've got you.
Mhm.
I will take care of it." So a lot of my mom friends started jumping on board. Our kids were all the same age. So we had this little community. So we all joined the same homeschool group. Um, there are co-ops and there are tutorials. A co-op is where you have to participate, and we did that in the beginning. Like you would teach, your kid is involved in the school, and they go usually one day a week. Some of them are 2 days a week. Some of them are 3 days a week. The majority of them are one day a week, just in our area. But
So let
you,
me back up for just a sec. So when you say that they go, where do they go? Is it like a church,
oh,
or where do they go?
yes, yes, local churches,
Okay.
that some of them will open their doors and allow students to come, and your students are there all day. Like we're at our school all day. Classes go from 8 to 4.
Okay.
Um, so with a co-op, your child will go, and the classes are free generally with co-ops. Um, and as a parent, you would have to teach for 6 weeks, assist for 6 weeks, be available to sub for 6 weeks, and then you have 6 weeks off. But
Oh.
the material is given to you. everything you need down to what you need to say is
Huh.
all given to you in a co-op.
Wow.
And honestly, I'm not sure that many places still do co-ops nowadays. Most of it is more tutorial, which means you pay the teachers for their services, and it's very inexpensive. It's the teaching part is very inexpensive. I mean, as far as paying for your students' classes, but
Mhm.
now it's more focused on, a deeper education. With the co-op, it's more fun. Have them, they do lots of art projects and things like that. But like at our tutorial, we have a very strong kindergarten program. Yeah, I think they're there 4 hours a day, and it's just like what they would do in a private school setting, or pretty much. And it's very rigorous, very good.
Wow. Wow. So it starts at kindergarten? That's the
Yes.
entry? And then it goes
Yes.
all the way through their senior year?
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow. So they would
Yes.
either co-op, like you say, if those are still available, or a tutorial basically where there's a more professional teacher, or is it still,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
more
Yes. It
professional teacher?
is. They do STEM classes, art classes, history classes, early English, like it's called IEW, Institute for the Writing or something. I can't remember. My kids took it, but uh, Institute for the Education of Writing or something like that. Anyway, it's very good. It's very thorough.
Are they
Um,
teaching them, I guess when they get a little older, are they introducing civics and government classes, things like that?
yes. So once they hit seventh grade, you really start getting into the meat more so.
Mhm.
I'm speaking from my art tutorial, and for the most part, the ones that I'm familiar with.
Mhm.
Because some of the kids go to different tutorials. They want to be everywhere. They don't want to be home, 2 or 3 days a week. They want to go to, like our New Life Academy meets on Mondays. There are tutorials that meet every day of the week. So some children can do a couple of tutorials if their parents are up for their responsibilities on their end.
Mhm. Wow, this is just so this is a world that I don't know hardly anything about, and I know a lot of people listening today don't either. It's fascinating to me that all of this structure is in place, and it's just kind of under the radar. We don't really know about it. We just think about traditional public schools or maybe
Mhm.
private schools. People know about charter schools, but this is different. Help us understand the difference in the approach to the curriculum versus like a charter school or a private school.
Well, I'm not familiar with the charter school curriculums. I know as a teacher where we are at our particular school, the teachers can normally choose the type of curriculum they want to use. It does have to be Christian based,
Mhm.
and I think we have a curriculum list of what we can choose from.
Mhm.
A Becca is a large program that it's used. I know a lot of the private schools around here use that.
Mhm.
Bob Jones is a big one. But the teacher has their own discretion. So starting in seventh grade, usually the teacher can choose what they want to do.
Mhm.
Like for instance, I teach seventh grade math and pre-algebra for eighth grade, and so I can choose whatever I want to use. I also teach seventh grade science. It's life science, and then I teach earth science in eighth grade. And I've chosen Abeka for that because, especially when you're dealing with sciences, you want to make sure that they get the Christian perspective.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask you. So, like, in the public school system, the curriculum kinda comes down from I mean, literally, the federal government has so much, say in what comes into the local level, and then we've got the school boards that kind of decide. So where does the curriculum come from, and is it approved by the parents? Like, how when I know the teachers have discretion to pull from the list you were talking about, but where does the list come from?
Your school will provide that, whichever school you choose, whichever homeschool group you choose to go to. So you have to have an umbrella school.
Mhm.
The umbrella school is kind of like the principal's office, I guess. That's where you turn in all your grades.
Okay.
The school days that you're required to do 180 days. You're required to do 4 hours a day, which
Mhm.
is the same amount of time that a public school or private school is required to do. It's only 4 hours of education.
Wow.
Um, So you turn that information into your umbrella school, and some I think in Wilson County you can use Wilson County, turn in your information there, but you may have to go through their rules of whatever books they want to use, and I'm not familiar with that, so I can't really speak much on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I used a local the Heritage Christian Academy. That is my umbrella school.
Okay.
Katrina Haggerty runs that, and she's very good. And all of the local colleges love her because
Mm-hmm.
they know when you fill out the information for your student to go to college, a lot of times, or in years past, they weren't real thrilled to get homeschool students,
Mm-hmm.
but they realized quickly that when they come in, they have great study habits. They're well rounded.
Mm-hmm.
The wildness is out. They don't even do that. They just go to school, and they know. So colleges now. My oldest one started in 2018, and they love them. They love college. The homeschool students coming in.
Yeah, you would think that something would click there for the college admission. Um,
Yeah.
so so let's back up for just a second. So I had promised at the opening of the show that moms who are interested in doing this maybe could enroll their children in homeschool but not have to quit their jobs and all that. So for that mom that's listening that says, I'd love to pull my kid out of public school, but I can't quit my job. How can we direct her?
If they have family that can help them, especially if they're younger and they have to have some sort of childcare,
Mm-hmm.
if they have grandparents or a family member or someone, that can maybe help them throughout the day, if they have a day job,
Mm-hmm.
um, maybe they can adjust their hours. We have some parents that the mom works nights and the dad works days, or and I know sometimes that's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're old enough and responsible enough, and they can be at home, and you feel like they'll be okay, they can start their own stuff at home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely take advantage of grandparents or someone that's around that can at least help monitor them, for safety reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of things you can do online.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's so much out there that's open for parents. Look at try your local churches.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you'll usually find a large community of students there that are homeschooled. Reach out to people that's doing it.
And they can
But
reach out to you too. You're kind enough to give your email, and I'm going to just share that here. That's Kirkpatrick for the number four him. So Kirkpatrick's Ki, for those listening can't write it down. It's Kirkpatrick. So Kirkpatrick the number four then HIM at gmail.com. And you'll be a good place for them to come, and you can point them in the right direction. I know, Kim, that you're Nashville based here, and we're in Nashville, Tennessee, but this is you've got resources for people no matter where they live around the country. You
Mhm.
mentioned the Heritage Christian Academy. There's also the National Homeschool Organization. So you can help get them to the right place if
Right.
they reach out to you. Thank you for that. Um,
Sure.
you know, I am I want to just honor you for taking the initiative, for obeying God, taking the initiative to homeschool your children, especially when you felt like a fish out of water initially doing that. But your
Yes.
obedience, and now look at this, has turned into 17 years of pouring into kids. The seeds that you're planting in these kids is going to be immeasurable. I really honor you for that, Kim.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. These moms, I talk to them all the time, especially grandmothers. I've got a lot of really savvy grandmothers that, have time on their hands, and so I think it's encouraging for them to know that they can step in and they can help. And then these tutorials that you mentioned, that gives them a place to go a few hours a day. You said that they could take more than one day a week. So how does that kind of look? You said the parent still needs to be involved, or the grandparent, to kind of monitor online So that's kind of a mix of online and in-person learning.
Um, if they're at a tutorial, it's usually everything is done from that tutorial.
Okay.
Usually not any online. You don't have to take all the classes at the tutorial. You can choose. You can choose to do whatever you want. You can take one class a week, or you can do all of them.
Okay.
Your high school teachers are former high school teachers most of the time.
Hmm.
They're very good. Obviously they're Christian moms, and we have very strict rules at our school. You have to be a believer.
Hmm.
We're trying to make sure that the environment that the students that come into our doors at school are around like-minded.
Hmm.
Um, so, like if you're, and we try not to discriminate, but it is a private school and we can make the rules.
Yeah.
So when you fill out the forms, they do want you to be a believer,
Hmm.
believe that Jesus died on the cross for your sins. They want those things, and we have had people decide not to because they didn't believe those things. And there are other schools out there that you don't have to be a believer. It's
Hmm.
maybe non-denominational or no denomination at all. And I
Hmm.
have seen those out there. I'm not familiar with them, but I do know that's out there. I believe there's even a homeschool groups for gay and lesbian parents.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Wow.
not familiar with that, but hey, at least they're trying.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep their kids out of the public school system.
Yeah. That I read a book, and I always like to mention this on air whenever I get a chance. There's a book that was written by a woman named oh gosh, Kimberly Ells, ELLS, and it's called The Invincible Family. And she's a mom of, I think she's got 4 children, and she was, writing, she's a conservative writer, and she was doing some research one day, and she came across the 10 the 10 sexual rights of children is what the article was. And it stopped her in her tracks, and she's like, "The 10 what?" And she started digging, and God led her, kind of the same story what we were talking about earlier, kind of led her down this path of really trying to get to the root of what all this is. And I highly recommend that anyone listening pick up that book, The Invincible Family by Kimberly Ells. But in a very objective way, she shares her research, and she shows us that what's happening in the schools right now is only about 6 layers deep, coming out of the UN and Planned Parenthood sitting in seats and trickling down this curriculum into our schools. I was shocked and amazed at what I read in that. And it explains a lot of this over sexualization of our kids, and a lot of this indoctrination that's happening. And it just filled in a lot of blanks and answered a lot of questions. And it gave solid proof that this is what's happening. The Marxist agenda, all of that. So when we put our children on the little yellow school bus and send them off to school, we're sending them to indoctrination camps. And it is not fear mongering. It is not, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is well proven, and we're seeing the fruit of that in this generation now. We're seeing it all play out. So I think having alternatives like what you're talking about, it's not only important, it's crucial. It's crucial for our children. We have to stop this from happening in our schools, and what you're doing is making a huge dent in that, making a big difference. Is there anything you'd like to share with people before we wrap up, Kim? And I'm going to give you the last word. Any last thoughts for that mom listening?
Definitely pray about it. God will give you everything you need. If I can do it, anybody can do it. There are so many resources out there. They don't miss anything. Your child going to a homeschool tutorial or being pulled out of school, regular schools, they're not going to miss. Well, I can't say that for every state. Here in our state, in Middle Tennessee, we have a homeschool athletic association, and your child can be a football player. They can be a cheerleader. They have a dance team. They have a soccer team, baseball, basketball, volleyball. They have it all. So your child can still participate in homeschool sports, but in Tennessee, they can also, you can be on the sports team for the local school system that you are zoned for. So if you don't want to be on the homeschool team, or say they have a particular sport that like bowling. Like we don't have a bowling team. So if you want to be on a bowling team or whatever in the local school that your child is zoned for, if they have that, then they are allowed to be a part of that. The
So
state will allow that.
that's amazing. So they're not missing out. I think a lot of that is a lot of fear for women is they think their children are going to be missing out on that social interaction. And so that's good for them to know that they're not. It's been an absolute pleasure having you today, and you're welcome back anytime. I think it's important for us to remind people of this often, so thank you for all of the wisdom you shared today and these resources. And
Oh, I
go ahead.
would like to say something else.
Sure.
It's not all about books. They don't have to learn everything from a textbook. There's a lot of life lessons. And I mean, you can go on a field trip to the park. You can learn about the trees. You can learn about the bees and the birds. And there's so many resources and things that they can do just being outside.
Wow.
So not everything comes from a book. I mean, they can learn to cook. They can learn measurements at home. So there's a lot of things, a lot of great things. So I encourage everyone to try it.
Yeah. Preparing them for life. Preparing
Yes.
them for life. It's so good. Thank you so much, Kim, for coming
Sure.
on today. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right, ladies, I hope this has been a blessing for you today. I hope if you are a mom listening today and you're kind of on this fence, that you will pursue this and really research and find out what your options are. You are not helpless. Your kids do not have to be in those indoctrination camps, as Kim shared so greatly today, that we have options. You've got options. All right. I will see you next time. Lady up.
Around this town, lady up around this town, victory